Hello, this particular video is discussing a few things that we as poets seem to forget to do or we make a habit of, and it kind of delays the progress of our work, or it holds us back, or it frustrates us. So, this particular short discussion is posted in my workshop at www.facebook.com/groups/planting poems workshop. Basically, as I was saying, here's a few things that we have to be careful how we use in our work. Often a new poet or just an advanced poet, or sometimes just forgetting, poet that forgets, we will forget that we have to show when we write a poem. We'll end up getting very telly. And to be telly in your work is actually the first step in building a foundation for your poem. So that's pretty much the first free write that you do. So the trick is to create images that are fresh, that are not cliches, and use those to show what you're trying to reveal to your reader. The other thing that we as poets have to keep in mind is that we have one thing in common with fiction writers, with almost every other kind of writer, is that we have to have a topic. We can't wander into a poem like a drunk man into the wilderness and then stumble upon our topic partly through just by mere luck, like a drunk person stumbling upon the highway after wandering into the woods blindly. That's how I like to think of it when we write poems and don't know the topic ahead of time. So it's important to decide the topic and what style of writing you're doing as far as poetry. So whether it's going to be personification, if it's going to be a snapshot poem, if it's going to be narrative, if it's going to be an epic, if it's going to be a ballad, if it's going to be a triolet, if it's going to be a couplet, if it's going to rhyme or not rhyme. We want to, and we have to decide whether there's going to be dialogue as well. So the problem is, what do you do when you've wandered into this poem like a drunk person into the wilderness and you forgot to pick a topic? What you can do is look at your poem and see where you began to stray into a topic. The beautiful thing about poetry is the mind wants, when you're writing a poem, the mind wants to write about a topic. So it will be kind of naturally born in the poem at some point, even if you weren't trying to pick a topic. So you can go back and look at your poem and see where your topic came in, but which is a noun, or it can be a non-human thing, or just a human emotion, which you may be personifying. Like Emily Dickinson said, hope is the thing with feathers. As I've said in one of my poems, the secret is in the shade. So that may be your topic, where you want to, write a poem that's about a secret, or your interpretation of a secret, or a person being secretive, or hope being like feathers. Perhaps you want to dive into that. Now, of course, you can't say that line because it's Emily Dickinson's, and you can't say mine, the secret is in the shade, because it's mine, but you can come up with your own. So we want to make sure that we have the topic. If it helps, create a list, create a template, have title for your topic, and Perhaps you can even decide whether you want the topic to have a closure to it or not. I don't like to do that. I like to kind of decide that as I get to the last stanza. Now, in this template, you can also have your sounds and your image and your slanted lines that you thought of, and random lines that just came to your mind. And then you can build your poem from that template of words you've collected, your clouds you've created. That's what they're called. They're called clouds. So you can do that. Or if you're just writing, in visual, in a trance, which I do too, a lot of writers do, you're going to still hint at your topic in the first stanza. It's the thing about poetry is if you kind of introduce your topic too late in the poem, it kind of throws the reader off, like, okay, wait, I thought she was talking about something else. So try to hint, or you can even mask your topic in the first stanza, or kind of give a glimpse of it and then build it till it's revealed, and then till it either drawbacks and fades away, or the poem ends with the topic just hitting the reader in the face. So you can do that. Another thing we tend to do as poets is we tend to feel like if we don't revise our poems, if we revise our poems, we're saying to ourselves we're not good enough as a poet. And that's not the case. A lot of great poets have revised their poems. So don't be too stubborn to revise and take suggestions and try other suggestions given by other poets. I think her name was Anne Exton. She, before she committed suicide, she was up half the night revising her Pulitzer Prize winning manuscript. We have to realize that a part of the revision process also comes with great sacrifice as writers. We have to give up a lot of the other things we might enjoy because we want to get these poems the way we feel they should be, which may take an hour revising the poem. You may revise it today and go back the next day. A poem is never quite done or revised. It's only gotten to the point where you can say out loud to yourself, I'm satisfied. So these are just a few things that as poets we need to think about when we're writing poems. There is one more thing. Along with the topic, we have to have a story. Just because we're poets doesn't mean we can just play in the poetic dream and just have meaningless work. We still have to have a story. And the reader in some way must catch a whiff of it when they're reading the poem. So it helps to practice writing poetry using narrative poetry because you're training your mind to look at poetry as stories, but more, how can I say, condensed and more tighter and less, how can I say, less drawn out. Just tighter little versions of stories with often dialogue and other techniques that are poetry, specifically poetry. So I wanted to share this video. If you want to join my workshop, if you're seeing this video elsewhere, send me a message. You may be seeing this in my fee-based course, or you may be seeing this on my Facebook workshop. I hope this video helps you, and right on.